Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. The gold rush continues as the Paris Games draw to a close. Jordan Chiles in the battle over her bronze medal. Plus, former President Trump is now accusing Vice President Kamala Harris of stealing a policy idea. We begin in Paris and the star-studded performances, the athletes and entertainers bidding adieu to the Summer Games. The U.S. striking gold once again in women's basketball and dominating the medal count. And we look ahead. The mayor of Los Angeles shares her vision for the 2028 Games. American gymnast Jordan Chiles losing her bronze medal over an appeal that an arbitrator says was 4 seconds too late. The U.S. committee is vowing to fight Chiles taking a break from social media after being targeted online with hate. Also tonight, we're following dangerous weather. Water rescues in Oklahoma as a river rises from 5 to 17 feet in a matter of hours. In South Carolina, a warning to seek higher ground, and a new storm is developing in the tropics. A deadly explosion, a house is wiped out, and a gas worker killed. The blast blowing out windows across the neighborhood. We're on the scene. Vice President Kamala Harris wraps up her blitz of battleground states. Former President Donald Trump accuses her of stealing a policy idea to eliminate taxes on tips. J.D. Vance defends plans to deport millions of undocumented immigrants, and President Biden on what made him drop out of the race. A new clue in the plane crash in Brazil that killed more than 60 people. Investigators say the pilots never radioed for help. A U.S. Army Ranger's heroic rescue, how his training helped him free the driver from a burning car. The Eiffel Tower evacuated, a suspect arrested for climbing up the tower just hours before the closing ceremonies. And we go inside the ultimate fan event as Disney announces a major expansion of its theme parks.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. The Paris Games are now in the history books, and the countdown is already on for Los Angeles, host of the 2028 Summer Games, where Team USA hopes to dominate once again. Just before we came on the air, athletes from around the world gathered inside the Stade de France for the closing ceremonies. Some of the final medals of the Games went to Team USA women's basketball, who pulled out a nail-biter against their French hosts in the final seconds. But a decision on Jordan Chiles' bronze medal for the floor exercise remains up in the air. The U.S. Olympic Committee says it will fight for her to keep the medal, calling Chiles an Olympic champion. We have team coverage tonight with ABC's Ines de La Cuetara leading us off from Paris.
Tonight, Americans in Paris stealing the show. Tom Cruise with the Hollywood entrance at the closing ceremony, dropping into the stadium and riding off with the Olympic flag back to L.A. On the final day of these Summer Games, the U.S. women's basketball team fighting to the very end for one last gold medal, winning in a nail-biting game against France by a single point. Team USA's Brittany Griner playing again at these Olympics for the first time since her detention in Russia, seen with tears in her eyes as the national anthem rang out, saying after the game, "My country fought for me so hard to even be standing here. This gold medal is going to hold a special place amongst the other two I was fortunate to win." After 329 events, that medal helping the U.S. tie China in the gold medal tally with 40 golds, leading the total medal count with 126 medals in all. But the Games also wrapping with one major disappointment. Gymnastics star Jordan Chiles having to give back her bronze medal after the Court of Sports Arbitration voided an appeal filed by her coaches to have her initial score reviewed during the floor final, saying it took too long to be submitted. The U.S. Olympic Committee saying they will appeal. All eyes now on LA 2028. Team USA's athletes looking ahead to home games.
Some of our games here felt like home games, and that's people traveling, fans here. So I think playing at home is going to just be like insane.
While throughout the Games, LA officers were spotted on the streets of Paris, invited by French police to get a better sense of security challenges. Mayor Karen Bass becoming the first black woman mayor ever to receive the Olympic flag, as Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo officially handed things off to the next host city.
What are some of the lessons learned?
Well, to me, the most important lesson was the way the entire city was involved. Whether you were able to attend a game or not, you could participate in watching the game with other people from around the city. You get a sense as you walk through this city that all of Paris is involved. And I want to see that for Los Angeles.
And Mayor Bass does have an ambitious vision, saying 2028 will be a no-car games, many of the venues only accessible by public transportation. Lindsay?
Many skeptical about how they'll pull that off. Ines, thank you. American gymnast Jordan Chiles is back home in the U.S. and trying to stay out of the fray. U.S. Olympic officials say they firmly believe Chiles rightfully won the bronze, and they will appeal the decision to take it from her, saying they hope to resolve the matter swiftly and fairly. The latest now from ABC's Ike Ejiochi.
Tonight, after that controversial ruling to strip American gymnast Jordan Chiles of her bronze medal, U.S. Olympic officials vowing to appeal, stating, "We firmly believe that Jordan rightfully earned the bronze medal." Late today, USA Gymnastics submitting video evidence to the Court of Arbitration that they say shows the scoring inquiry by Chiles' coach was filed within the 1-minute deadline. Chiles, winning bronze after that appeal last week, made over this leap during her floor routine. The judges later giving Chiles full credit, boosting her score by 1/10 of a point. Chiles vaulting from 5th into 3rd place. Romanian gymnast Ana Barbosu, who thought she had the bronze, crushed. Romania appealing the score. Yesterday, an independent arbitrator finding the appeal from Jordan's coach was 4 seconds too late, outside the 1-minute time limit for scoring inquiries. Chiles heartbroken, posting, "I am taking the time and removing myself from social media for my mental health." Her Olympic teammates Simone Biles and Suni Lee taking to social media in support. Biles writing, "Keep your chin up, Olympic champ. We love you." Lee writing that she's gutted for Jordan. Today, the IOC stating it will reallocate the bronze medal to Ana Barbosu, and they're in discussions with the U.S. Olympic Committee regarding the return of the medal. According to Olympic organizers, Jordan Chiles is now back in the United States. Her sportsmanship throughout the Games highlighted by that now iconic moment on the podium. Biles and Chiles bowing down to Brazil's Rebeca Andrade, now Brazil's most decorated Olympian ever. Biles saying it was all Jordan's idea. Lindsay?
Ike, we will always remember that moment. Thank you so much. Tonight, Oklahoma City is seeing some of its worst rainfall in living memory. Torrential rain causing extreme ponding on streets. Officials warning people not to drive into high waters. One local river went from 5 feet to 17 in just a few hours, overflowing its banks. Flooding remains a major concern in South Carolina. Days after Debby, residents of Dorchester County, north of Charleston, are being told to head to higher ground as rivers crest. ABC News meteorologist Somara Theodore joins us now. Samara, what kind of activity are you tracking in the tropics?
Well, Lindsay, we're taking a close look at potential Tropical Cyclone 5. This is usually what the storm gets named right before it becomes the named storm, and it could potentially become named Storm Ernesto. And this storm system will continue to brush past Puerto Rico, strengthening to a Cat 1 status, and then moving out towards Bermuda as a Cat 2 by the end of the week. Meanwhile, on the East Coast, we're still dealing with the ramifications of Debby. Rivers have been flooding, reaching major stage level. We have flood watches in effect throughout the Carolinas, receiving over a foot of rain. This water has nowhere to go, and it's looking like we'll be seeing river flooding at least through the end of the week. Lindsay?
So many water-weary. Samara, thank you so much. Authorities in Maryland are working to determine what caused a massive explosion in a neighborhood outside Baltimore. At least 2 people were killed and a home completely leveled. The house next door was also badly damaged. One neighbor said the blast felt like a bomb had gone off. ABC's Perry Russom is at the scene.
Tonight, a deadly house explosion rocking a small Maryland town.
This is one of the largest explosions I've seen.
We've had a house explosion with fire.
The blast happening at around 6:40 in the morning, about a half hour north of Baltimore. The debris field spanning several blocks. 2 people killed, 1 injured. County officials say the blast could be heard from 3 miles away.
My wife and I both thought that the city had been bombed. You know, it was that loud.
State investigators say gas was reportedly smelled in the area before the explosion. Contractors for Baltimore Gas and Electric were at the home working on what state officials are calling an electrical issue.
Is it possible that that was the ignition for this?
We don't know right now. That's still under investigation.
Sam Lashira says his best friend lives here.
He's 73, some serious health issues.
And late today, officials say they found that man's body inside the home.
We have reason to believe that it is the 73-year-old male that was actually living in the house that was for sale.
State officials say this investigation is going to take some time. Right now, they are working with the ATF to figure out exactly how this explosion happened. Lindsay?
Perry, thank you. Tonight, the race for the White House is heating up. Vice President Harris is wrapping her first cross-country campaign tour and trading jabs with her opponent, former President Trump. And President Biden, in his own words, about why he ultimately decided to step down from the top of the ticket. ABC's Mary Alice Parks is at the White House.
Tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris back home in San Francisco, closing out a cross-country tour with her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, and getting a fundraising boost from former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who was central to Democrats pushing President Biden out of the race. Biden today revealing new details about his historic decision.
Although it's a great honor being president, I think I have an obligation to the country to do the most important thing to do, and that is we must defeat Trump.
Biden saying he did not want to be a distraction and that a number of his colleagues worried he could be a drag on their races. Tonight, Harris starting to lay out her agenda, echoing Trump's calls to make tips tax-free at a rally in Las Vegas, but also saying she would push to raise the minimum wage.
It is my promise to everyone here, when I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America.
Trump accusing Harris of stealing his idea, which would require approval from Congress. Meanwhile, his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, defending their promise to conduct mass deportations of millions of undocumented immigrants if elected.
So you go knock on doors and ask people for their papers.
Again, but I think this is the wrong attitude towards it, right? There's 20 million people here illegally. You start with what's achievable, you do that, and then you go on to what's achievable from there.
Mary Alice joins us now from the White House. And Mary Alice, what more can you tell us about the Trump campaign's claims that it was hacked?
Yeah, lawmakers are demanding, Lindsay, that the national security team declassify anything that they learn about this. The White House, too, telling me that they are taking this very seriously, though they would not confirm any of the specific claims from the Trump team. Now, Microsoft said in a report that an Iranian-backed group, through an email scam, did target a high-ranking official of an unnamed presidential campaign. Microsoft would not say whether it was the Trump campaign or not. Trump himself said that Microsoft told him that one of their campaign websites was hacked. So, Lindsay, still a lot of questions.
All right, Mary Alice Parks from the White House for us. Thanks so much. Overseas now, the IDF says it's expanding operations against Hamas in southern Gaza as the death toll rises in Saturday's strike on a school in Gaza City where civilians were sheltering. And now there is late word that Hamas is stepping away from ceasefire talks. ABC's Tom Suvi-Burridge joins us now from Israel. Tom, what are you learning?
Well, Lindsay, in a major new push, the U.S. and other mediators had called on Israel and Hamas to resume talks on Thursday. Tonight, Hamas is indicating it will not attend, saying there is no need for, quote, more rounds of negotiations on new proposals because Hamas says there is a previous framework deal it is willing to accept. Hamas mapping out its position, linking it to both the assassination of its political leader, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran 10 days ago, and an IDF airstrike on a school in Gaza City yesterday, which killed scores of civilians. The IDF saying they took out 20 terrorists. Meanwhile, Iran doubling down on its commitment to take revenge against Israel for the assassination in Tehran. Today, Israel's defense minister saying if Iran or Hezbollah harms Israel, they can expect, quote, a blow unlike any other in return. Lindsay?
The region remaining on edge there. Tom, thank you. Families of the 62 victims of the deadly plane crash in Brazil are gathering in Sao Paulo as officials work to identify their loved ones. Officials say both of the plane's flight recorders have been sent to Brazil's capital for analysis. Investigators say the pilots did not call for help in the moments before the crash and weather conditions were not bad. Tonight, for the first time, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is acknowledging that his country's forces are conducting an operation inside Russia. These images circulating online show the moment a Ukrainian missile struck a building in western Russia. The Kremlin says dozens of Russians have been wounded in the past several days, some of them children. ABC's Patrick Reevell has the latest.
Tonight, the moment a Ukrainian missile crashes into an apartment building in the Russian city of Kursk. Videos circulating online. Russian air defenses bringing the missile down. Windows blown out and cars mangled. At least 13 injured. 6 days ago, Ukraine launched its unprecedented surprise attack into Russia's Kursk region. This video circulating online showing Ukrainian troops crossing the border, mounting the first major foreign military incursion into Russia since World War II. Several thousand Ukrainian soldiers now estimated to be in the Kursk region, some up to 19 miles inside, according to military analysts. Some filming themselves raising their flags over a handful of villages. Russia saying 76,000 Russian civilians have now fled, now housed in shelters, and dozens of Russian soldiers surrendering. State TV showing Russia racing to send reinforcements to the region, trying to gain the upper hand. Now hunting Ukrainian military vehicles with drones and aircraft. President Zelensky for the first time Saturday confirming his operation. Ukraine is proving that it can indeed restore justice, he says, and put pressure on the aggressor.
The Kremlin is being caught heavily off guard by this, but this is still a very big gamble for Ukraine, which appears to hope that this will help relieve pressure elsewhere on the front and perhaps strengthen its hand in future negotiations. But the next few days are likely to be crucial, Lindsay.
Patrick, for us, thank you so much. There's so much more ahead here on World News Tonight. This Sunday, an Army Ranger uses his training to rescue a man from a burning car, and danger high in the air as a man climbs the outside of the Eiffel Tower. Back to Paris for a moment. Police evacuated the Eiffel Tower today, where a man was spotted climbing up the side of the building just above the rings. This took place only a few hours before the Summer Games closing ceremony. Some visitors were locked inside the second floor as a precaution. Officers did catch up to the man and placed him under arrest. When we come back, a rough landing caught on video. What the plane's owner says went wrong. To the index now, an Army Ranger is being hailed as a hero after jumping into action to rescue a man from a burning car. Video shows the car engulfed in flames Friday after crashing in Tacoma, Washington. Joe Thatch is one of the people seen carrying the man to safety. He says his 18 years of military experience helped as he pulled the driver from the car. Police say that driver is expected to recover. Next, dramatic video of a small plane making a hard landing in Southern California. A camera captured the impact, the plane skidding clockwise on the runway at Hawthorne Airport last Wednesday. The plane's owner says he came in too fast. His flight instructor could be heard blaming himself. Neither was hurt. When we come back, the big changes coming to Disney theme parks. Finally tonight, Disney's theme parks are about to get a major upgrade. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis has more from D23.
D23, what's good?
The ultimate Disney fan extravaganza continuing to dazzle with show-stopping musical numbers. Revealing dozens of bold new Disney experiences to the audience of 12,000 in a lavish showcase in Anaheim, California.
Our Imagineers dream, they create design, and then they build these stories into fantastic real places.
Those Imagineers reimagining the Disney parks worldwide with a new Spider-Man coaster in Shanghai.
So we're going to have to follow Spidey at very high speeds to get us out of trouble.
A newly conceptualized Avengers campus in California.
Do you want to see what that looks like? We can't wait for all of you to get a chance to try this out.
The Imagineers projects for Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, some of the biggest, with the Magic Kingdom getting its largest expansion in its history. A fan favorite leading the way.
We're inviting Mater and Lightning McQueen to 2 new Cars attractions.
And in a break from Happily Ever After, Villain Land, featuring some of the most iconic evil characters in Disney stories. Monsters, Inc. star Billy Crystal getting a rousing ovation as he took to the stage to share more Disney news.
They're going to build the first Monsters, Inc. land in a Disney park.
Disney taking a big step into the digital universe, announcing an expansive collaboration with Epic Games, the creators of the worldwide sensation Fortnite.
This is a pretty big moment. Right now, Fortnite players from around the world are watching our show from inside the game.
Disney announcing it's bringing Disney animation characters into Fortnite this fall.
We're always constantly looking for new ways to really take you, the fans, to our galaxy.
And back here on Earth, more Disney news. Its Marvel sequel, Deadpool Wolverine, topping $1 billion worldwide.
Yet another Marvel. Our thanks to Rebecca, and thanks to you for watching. I'm Lindsay Davis. David Muir back here tomorrow. Have a great night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.